One of my favorite Star Wars video games of all time that I have very fond memories with is Shadows of the Empire on N64. This was a game that I played a lot with my dad, and the main character in this game is Dash Rendar. And today, we're going to learn about him briefly from Star Wars Legends. Dash is a rogue smuggler, a hotshot pilot, and someone who's often compared to Han Solo. But trust me, Dash stands out as his own kind of hero. He was first introduced in the ambitious Shadows of the Empire game in 1996. This included a novel, a comic, a game on N64, and even action figures, all centered on the events between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Dash became a fan favorite as a cocky Corellian smuggler flying the Outrider, a heavily modified YT-2400 freighter. But Dash's story goes deeper than just being a flashy pilot. Dash was born on Corellia to a wealthy family that ran a successful shipping business. He had it all: status, privilege, and a bright future. But things took a dark turn when his family refused to sell their business to Prince Xizor, the leader of the Black Sun crime syndicate. Xizor didn't take no for an answer. He sabotaged a family freighter piloted by Dash's brother, Stanton, causing it to crash into the Imperial Museum on Coruscant. Stanton died, the Empire seized the family's assets, and Dash was expelled from the Imperial Naval Academy. Everything he knew was gone. With nothing left to lose, Dash became a smuggler and mercenary, carving out a reputation as one of the galaxy's most skilled pilots. His ship, the Outrider, a heavily modified YT-2400 freighter, became his home and a symbol of his independence. Dash's story is connected with some of the biggest events in Star Wars. He delivered supplies to Echo Base on Hoth during the Battle of Hoth, helped Rogue Squadron take down an AT-AT Walker, and was even hired by Lando Calrissian to track down Han Solo's carbonite-encased body. Later, Dash teamed up with Luke Skywalker himself to recover plans for the Death Star, and even saved Luke's life during a swoop gang attack on Tatooine. But his most iconic moment? Rescuing Leia from Xizor's palace on Coruscant. After the battle with Xizor, Dash faked his death, making it seem like the Outrider was destroyed while escaping Coruscant. In reality, Dash disappeared into the galaxy, leaving us fans wondering what happened to him. Now, when I was a kid and I played this game, I was really confused who Dash was. I was 6 years old, and I was like, who's this guy? Why is Han Solo looking different? But I eventually realized that this is not Han Solo, this is somebody else. Now, Dash's popularity isn't without its share of controversy. To some, he's seen as little more than a Han Solo knockoff, just like kind of what I thought when I was a kid. A dashing Corellian rogue with a similar ship and a trusty sidekick droid named Lebo. Even within Lucasfilm, Dash is a divisive figure. Rogue One writer Gary Whitta once said he's a very polarizing character. People either love Dash or they hate him. But here's the thing, Dash isn't just a copy of Han. His story explores different corners of the Star Wars galaxy, particularly the criminal underworld and the morally gray areas where smugglers thrive. While Han eventually became a rebel hero, Dash always operated on the fringes, playing by his own rules. And this is one of the real enjoyments of Legends characters, is that you can kind of go into places where the main guys can't, because they gotta be good guys at the end of the day. But these guys can kind of teeter on the fence, or go completely one way or the other. Dash has that mix of charm, grit, and action that makes him stand out in a franchise filled with unforgettable characters. Now for me, Dash Rendar represents what Star Wars Legends did very well, creating heroes who felt just as real and important as the ones that we saw in the movies. By the end of the game, as a kid, after so many playthroughs, I actually really liked Dash. And he didn't seem like some knockoff Han Solo anymore. They do share similarities, but Dash has his own edge, his own backstory, and his own style. I'd even say he's one of the most visually iconic characters in Star Wars Legends today. Now, the Shadows of the Empire project, whether it was the book, the comic, or the Nintendo 64 game, did a really great job at bringing him to life. So my question is, what's next for this guy? Star Wars has been diving deeper into its Legends material, bringing characters like Thrawn into live action, and reworking fan-favorite stories to fit into the current canon. With that trend continuing, I think there could be a case for Dash to make his way back into the spotlight. Now, the only caveat with that is that when they do bring in these Legends characters, they often change them from what they used to be when George was around. It goes through some sort of Disney mill and just, I don't know, it doesn't feel the exact same. So I'd love it if they allowed the creatives to really do what they need to do by creating the characters, or rather, no, not creating, just adapting them to the way they were. Kind of like Kyle Katarn. I wonder what they're going to do if they ever bring him into live action or some sort of medium. Now, Dash is the kind of character who perfectly captures the gritty, adventurous spirit of the Star Wars galaxy, and honestly, I hope I do see him, but whenever I say that, I'm always kind of wary. With shows like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka exploring the galaxy's underworld and its fringes, Dash would feel right at home. He's a smuggler, mercenary, rogue pilot, someone who operates in that morally gray space where Star Wars often shines, and where Han Solo can't go anymore, Dash can. Imagine Din Djarin or even Ahsoka needing help from a hotshot pilot with a knack for getting into and out of trouble. That's Dash in a nutshell. And with Lucasfilm storytelling now overlapping between series, I feel like they could do it well, but the question is, will they? With brilliant writers like Stuart Beattie having made the Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy movie before it was absolutely destroyed by Deborah Chow and Joby Harold, I feel like they at least have a sense of the right people to hire until, things kind of go the other way. So, it depends who they bring on board to bring Dash into the mix. He could be woven into the bigger picture, and even maybe as a supporting character. Lucasfilm has reintroduced several Legends characters through novels and comics, and Dash is a natural fit for either. So, they could start with a new novel, maybe exploring his exploits, or a comic series reimagining Shadows of the Empire for the modern canon. And when I say a reimagining, I mean literally a spitting image of what it once was, maybe just with some new graphics or new art or something like that, without altering the story or the characters themselves really all that much. And he doesn't have to overshadow the major players like Han or Luke or anybody like that. He's the guy working behind the scenes, someone who can show us a different side of the galaxy, like a more dark side Han, in his own way. Now, I think with this big kind of crossover in film, kind of ending few movies that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are making, there is a chance to include characters like Dash, who show the galaxy's more rugged, darker, adventurous side. Maybe like someone who knows the underworld like the back of his hand. With what they did with Luke and the Jedi in general, I think bringing in some non-Jedi characters to kind of add to the mix would really make a lot of old school Legends fans like myself feel at home. The only problem is if they do it right. And that's really the biggest part, is like, do we want these characters in there with the possibility of them being destroyed forever? Or do we take the chance? Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see Dash in some sort of canon medium? Or do you think he's perfect where he belongs, which is in Legends and untouched in today's writing? Thanks so much for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends, remember, the Force will be with you, always.